Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Comic Corporations, and this will be my first What If video. And you can guess what it's about thanks to the title. I assume those watching have seen MHA before, so some details will be skipped. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Izuku and Kachan, when growing up, were very close friends. But here, in their childhood, is where we will introduce a new character to the story, and her name is Sakura Tanaka. And these three were always together when growing up. But the day Kachan awakened his quirk, he started acting differently, more rude, more arrogant per se. But the one person he was never rude to or looked down upon was Sakura. While in contrary, he treated Deku like he was some lower life form. And at first Sakura did not notice how Kachan treated Izuku, but one day while playing at the park, she finally noticed how Kachan looked down on Izuku so much for not having awakened his quirk, yet even though Kachan himself had only awakened his 3 days ago. Kachan approaches Izuku with his goons. From now on, you take orders from me, and you are not allowed to call me Kachan anymore. It's Bakugo to you, Kachan states. But why? I thought we were close, Izuku states. Hey, Kachan, Izuku, Sakura said sadly while noticing how Bakugo's goons were cornering Izuku. Sakura immediately realized what's going on, and she says to Bakugo, I thought you were different. I thought you weren't a person who was like that. She simply takes Izuku's hand and walks away with Izuku. Sakura became distant to Bakugo, spending most of her time with Izuku, but anytime she wasn't around, Bakugo would approach Izuku with his goons, and there was nothing he could do about it, since he was deemed quirkless. On one particular day after school, when Sakura wasn't around, they beat Izuku, and they left him bloody. Some of his bones broken, ribs fractured. And Bakugo states to Izuku, you better stay away from Sakura, Deku. And Deku is a name used in Japanese to say useless and powerless. So this was a mocking for Izuku. Surprisingly, Izuku refused. I don't want to. I want us all to be like how we used to be, he said sadly. You think things will ever be the same way? How naive. You're gonna regret not staying away from Sakura, Bakugo states as he raises his hand and charges at Izuku, hitting him with a point-blank explosion, knocking Izuku out. Bakugo simply spits on Izuku and walks away, as if this is just a daily routine. But something unnatural happens after Bakugo walks away. The clouds begin to gather, and flashes of red appear in the sky. Within a fraction of a second, a scarlet red bolt of lightning strikes Izuku. Izuku slowly opens his eyes, and although his vision was blurry, he could strikingly make out distinct features of a hospital room. And a voice sounds, and he recognizes it as his mother, Anko. Are you alright? While tears of relief stream down on her chubby face. Izuku tries to lift his arms, but feels immense pain. After all, he's only 8, so he tears up. But his mom holds his hand and she asks what happened. But Izuku gives a warm smile that hides a flood of pain, not wanting to get Bakugo in trouble even now after what he did to her. After a while, Enko stops asking, seeing Izuku's hesitation. Izuku is bedridden for several weeks, but once he recovers, He heads to school, happy that he's going to see Sakura again, and yet so scared knowing Bakugo's there. As Izuku is going to class, Bakugo and his goons approach Izuku, wide grins on their faces. Bakugo calls out to Izuku, mocking him by calling him Deku. But Izuku simply says, "I'm not in the mood for this, Bakugo." Bakugo grits his teeth and says, "You've gotten cocky," before he then lunges at Izuku. But within the blink of an eye, Izuku appears behind Bakugo, a scarlet flame surrounding his leg, with the occasional crackle of lightning. Izuku slowly opens his eyes, scarlet red pupils visible in them. Confused, Izuku runs. As Izuku runs, he realizes that time has slowed around him. No, furthermore, he thinks and realizes he's simply moving at a speed too fast that everything has slowed down towards him. He's approaching the speed of light, and he realizes it's his quirk. He finally got one at the age of 8, while the average kid usually gets his quirk at the age of 6. But his quirk seems different, seems impossibly strong, and yet Zubu simply brushes that feeling off and runs towards school, only to get a terrible letter. Sakura has transferred out. Zuko, for the rest of the day, is simply devastated, unable to forget his dear friend, the person who protected him most of the time when growing up. After school, Izuku heads home and tells his mother about this, but she responds, "I already know, Izuku. Sakura left a number for you, so you can call her whenever you want and talk to her." So Izuku, immediately after hearing this, goes to his room and he calls Sakura. She immediately answers and says, "Hey, hey, hey, Izuku." Izuku responds, "Why'd you leave? I heard that you transferred schools." Sakura states, "It wasn't my decision. And anyway, I'm going to a distant school. It's it's similar to the UA Academy, but it's different. It's more far away, and there's less required qualifications. I'm going to stay here for a couple of years, but one day I'll be back, and then we can finally be together again. But until then, we can talk anytime we want, just through just through this phone. I want to text you. I want to talk to you, because you're the only friend I have right now," Sakura states. So to distract Sakura from the sad topic, Izuku tells her that he finally got his quirk, and she is delighted. She asks what it is, and he says it seems to be super speed. And Sakura simply states, "That's a great quirk." And she said she's recently awakened her quirk, and it's a quirk called Phantom. It lets her make an ethereal form of herself as if it's a summon to send them out as ghosts, but they're not quite ghosts. They can interact with the physical world, but yet they can go through objects if Sakura pleases it. Izuku congratulates her, saying that's an incredibly strong quirk. Suddenly, Izuku hears Sakura's mom calling her through the phone, so she has to leave. For the next 3 years, Izuku talks to Sakura, but also training his quirk. But Bakugo, he continues to bully Izuku. But one day, Izuku snaps. He says to Bakugo as he's cornered in an alleyway, in a dark alleyway, he says to Bakugo, "Could you stop this finally? We're 9 years old, Kachan." He accidentally calls him Kachan. And Bakugo snaps.